to go all the way back to the beginning, I was born with a second-degree AV heart murmur. Pretty basic now, but at the time when I was born in 1998, it was very rare to see in an infant.
You had to have a pacemaker installed in your heart at the age of 16.
16.
Welcome to another episode of Coffeez. Tell the audience what is your company all about, and what was the intention behind Pace Fitness, and kind of like the vision for it.
Okay, so to begin, I started out as just a basic personal trainer. Once you have done that for a little bit, you kind of question what is the actual goal. Because after a while, you meet a lot of people who have different areas of where they need help in, and you ask yourself, how can you make yourself beneficial for them? So a lot of it, I realize it's more mental for a lot of people than just physical. And as a new personal trainer, I thought it was just about lifting weights, the physical aspect of it, and diet. But a lot of people come into the gym with a lot of different issues, family history, health conditions. And once I started to explore my health condition, I kind of related it back to me on how I got over that hump. So then I started to compare other people. It's like, okay, well, how can I get this person to point A to point Z a lot quicker than just lifting weights? So then I realized that if their mind is right, if you feel good about yourself, you're more likely to put more effort in to your overall workout. So if you take that same work ethic you apply to your workout to your whole life, it can take you so far. Yeah. So that kind of brought me to the name Pace Fitness, derived from me having a pacemaker, and pacing yourself at life. Don't rush it. So
you had to have a pacemaker installed in your heart at the age of 16.
16.
Let's talk about that. So what was the catalyst for getting a pacemaker, and then, and how did you transform your life after?
So to go all the way back to the beginning, I was born with a second-degree AV heart murmur. Pretty basic now, but at the time when I was born in 1998, it was very rare to see in an infant. So I'll give you the whole story. So I was born at Providence Hospital located in Southfield, Michigan. When they noticed I had a heart murmur, they freaked out. They wanted to airlift me to a different hospital, University of Michigan. My mother was like, we're not taking a helicopter. We're going to drive. It was a lot safer for her. So to put her at ease, we drove over to University of Michigan. That's when they declared that I had a second-degree AV heart murmur. So life after that, they didn't really see it affecting my life. They knew at some point it was going to maybe turn into stage 3. They just didn't know when. So they didn't want to give me a pacemaker too soon, because at the time, pacemakers were a lot bigger at the time. So walking around as an infant or a toddler or a young teenager would actually limit me a lot. So fast forward to 16 years old, I was at a trampoline park and I tore all 4 ligaments in my knee. So keep in mind, 6 months prior, I just had a checkup with my cardiologist and everything was fine. Still stage 2 heart murmur. So from that time until I hurt my knee, they found out that my stage 2 moved into stage 3. So that means a leakage of blood. So if it wasn't for me hurting my knee, I would never found out that the stage 2 moved into stage 3. So that's where I go back to saying it's all God's timing, because I wouldn't have had another checkup for like another 6 months, and I would have had to find out the hard way. So life after having a pacemaker, I would say, first off, the recovery process for the surgery was like 2 weeks. I had my arm in a sling because the incision is above the chest or the pectoral muscle on the left side. So if you rip it, it's going to rip that incision open, which could be detrimental. So I had to keep my arm like this for 2 weeks. It was pretty simple, pretty smooth. But I would say it didn't really hit me till like a year after, to be honest, that like, wow, I have a pacemaker. Like, okay, looking in the mirror, I'm already kind of skinny. I can see it, the type of looks I'm going to get when I take my shirt off, go to the beach, go to the gym. So it became like a huge mental battle for sure. But once I realized, I started getting more included in my faith, and I think that's when it hit me the most. I grew up in church, just physically going, but I think when life happens, you really realize what to fall back on and how to stay grounded, and that was definitely through my spirituality. So once I saw this as not a curse, but rather than a gift, my whole mind changed. And it was like, okay, what's better than life? I'm here, right? So pacemaker or not, I'm blessed to be alive. So that shifted my whole mindset.
Now you've decided to kind of commit yourself to helping people who have, some sort of ailment, health ailment.
Yeah.
What was the point you realized that this was my mission, this was my purpose?
Once I was able to overcome my mental battles, I just started feeling the best I've ever felt. maybe like 3 years ago. And I understood what that took, and it took a lot of looking myself in the mirror and understanding that there's no problem too big to handle. Like here I am, I have a pacemaker and I use 90% of it. Without it, I'm basically done. So it kind of it put pressure on what is my purpose. And I had to ask myself what makes me happy. And it's just simply getting people to whatever they want to get to, whether that's physical, mental, they all tie into each other. So that kind of put a spotlight on what my mission was, and it's just simply to help people and to simply coach them through whatever they're going through. So I know what it feels like to have something like a health condition stop you from feeling like you're good enough to do what you're setting out for. So once you're able to get over that hump, like just imagine yourself on the other side of those issues. You're an incredible person. Like we're all incredible. Like when I speak to you, I'm speaking to the God in you, because God is in all of us. And I want to get that out of people, because society now, we don't talk about it enough.
That's something we connected about immediately. And
yeah.
One of the things that the pacemaker has done for you is just made you really aware of how precious life is.
Yes.
And it's very rare that I come across someone, especially a young guy like you, that's like that thankful for every breath he takes. And that's what intrigued me. I'm like, listen, it's a new business. I want you to come on the show, talk about it, talk about the vision, and and there just needs to be more awareness, especially for young people, about how blessed they are to be alive, because everyone takes it for granted.
Of course. Even just like health in general, I think we wait till it gets too late, especially men, and especially people in their 20s. We wait till we're 40 until we get anything checked, or we wait till something bad happens.
Yeah.
Just because you may physically look good on the outside doesn't mean your insides match. So that's where I come in, because a lot of people in their 20s, especially even 30s, they don't talk about it enough until it's too late.
Now, how does Pace Fitness differ from any other fitness company?
Well, there's no one else representing, I feel, their health condition like a pacemaker the way I am. Especially because when you think of a pacemaker, you think of people generally in their 80s and 90s. So it kind of reshapes what you think about pacemakers. Like, oh, wow, you were 16 when you got yours? And it kind of makes you think, well, maybe I should get checked. Maybe I should look inside and see what's going on until it gets too late. Because, again, that was all God's timing. And there's nothing I could have done about that, because I just had a checkup. But, again, it sheds light. There's no such thing as going to the doctor's office too much. Well, maybe there is. But as far as checking in on yourself, I think we check in on ourselves when it gets too late, or we feel like we're about to fall off the bed. So my company really sheds light because it talks to all age groups. So you would think a pacemaker is just 90-year-old category, but no, everyone. Because again, I was 16 when I had mine put in. Usually when people get theirs put in, they're usually 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Here I am 16 going on 10 years now.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's crazy that you went through such an experience, a eye-opening experience. And now I'm going to take it back to the beginning. So you've moved a lot growing up. You lived through your parents' divorce and relocated from North Carolina to California. Now, what part of that constant change do you think shaped you the most?
I would say... So I also lived in Georgia. After I lived in... So a timeline, I lived in Detroit, then I moved to Greensboro, North Carolina, then I moved to a place called Summerford, North Carolina, and then I moved to Georgia. In Georgia, I lived in a place called Duluth and Johns Creek. And in Johns Creek, I was in sophomore year of high school, and I played the violin. So my mother and my grandmother put the money together for me to go overseas to Italy to play with my orchestra. And I think that shaped me the most, because that was the first time I've ever been out the country. I'm from a place called Detroit. Not a lot of people make it out, and if they are, it's usually for the same reason. So a kid from Detroit, walking around the streets of Italy playing the violin in itself was like, wow, there's more to life. So after that, I think that trip made me think a lot bigger.
You still play the violin?
No, I don't. But that's all I listen to. Classical music and jazz music. And I thank my parents for that.
That's awesome. That's the best music.
It's the best music.
Yeah. I mean, that's real music.
Yeah, it's real music. Words get kind of boring.
Yeah. So how did how did really getting a pacemaker at 16 shift your relationship with life, your body, your faith?
So as far as my body, it made me, realize that I have a couple of things to overcome as far as feeling comfortable in my own skin. It took me a long time to feel comfortable in the mirror, or even just taking my shirt off. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I guess I'll tell everyone now. So I had a little bit of identity issue as well. I was super skinny, and I think this was right before the heart surgery. I would wear a bunch of shirts under like an Under Armour shirt because I was so skinny. I wanted to seem bigger,
Yeah.
So I'd walk around a bunch of shirts on. Doesn't matter if I was hot, sweating my butt off, whatever it was. Then my mom saw me one day and she was like, "Why do you have all those shirts on? Take all that stuff off. You need to be comfortable in your own skin." And that kind of, I think her calling me out on something so vulnerable actually pushed me in the correct direction, like mothers are for. So I look at where I am now, 4 surgeries later, I have the body that I want, and all it took was just looking myself in the mirror and being comfortable with who I am as a person. It doesn't matter, comparing yourself to other people. There's always somebody better at you than something. Instead of downing yourself, ask them how did they get to where they are, because you might not know how they got to where they are. They might not even be happy for all we know, because we always look at the physical image and the aspect instead of understanding how that person got there. So that's how the pacemaker kind of shifted my body, because it made me realize I have some work to do as far as self-love. And I think once you love yourself, life gets a lot more clearer, especially today, like Instagram society, so quick to compare yourself to a 10-second image, and you don't know what's going on behind that image at all. Um, and as far as faith, I couldn't get out here. I couldn't get here without God, at all. And I was always going to church physically, but mentally I was never there. And I think when I ask myself, okay, why do I keep coming to the same halt in life? It's because I'm not really giving myself completely to Jesus. I'm posting the quotes, it all looks nice, but what does it mean to actually give yourself to the Lord? And I look around and I say, okay, it's easy to say what's wrong in your life, but I'm still breathing right now. I woke up today, and that means I have another chance to make it better. And that's all because of God. This right here was all because of God. So what am I complaining for?
That perspective that you have, it takes decades. I mean, men don't learn that perspective until they're in their 40s.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that wisdom that God gave you at a young age is really priceless, because you can wake up a lot of youth.
Yeah, for sure.
You could wake up a lot of youth who are listening now, or who are, just kind of falling to the wayside or falling into their own fleshly desire. You're staying away from that stuff.
Yeah, I think without this, I would be that guy too. And that's why it sheds light on this so much more. Because it's like, I'm so thankful to go through something like that, because it really woken me up in places I need to be woke up in.
Now, when you were first diagnosed, did you ever feel like these limitations might define your future, or you're always, ready to push past them?
Um, I would say I always thought they would define me in a good way. I just didn't know how. And I think that positive mindset it becomes from me having a good family and them being there throughout the whole way, especially my mother. She never let me go through a day where I kind of doubted myself or questioned my pacemaker. She always reminded me, this is a blessing. You need to make something of it. She was always on my butt about it to this day. So I think having her in my corner, and just the rest of my immediate family, but specifically my mother, she's the real expert in all this. So I owe it all to her. She never let me think down on myself at all. And I think your support system really says a lot about where you'll go in your future, so. And I think another thing is I was afraid to ask for help. And I think, because I grew up super quiet and super shy. So I will wait till things get super bad until they're unable to be helped to get help. So with her in my corner having conversations with me that I didn't want to have, it pushed me and it opened doors for me to be, okay, it's okay to talk about what's going on inside, because I want to feel good. That's the goal. So if this is something that I have to do that's maybe slightly uncomfortable, but also gives me the rest of my life happy, I have to go through it.
I love that. Now, Pace Fitness is such a dope brand name. When did the vision for building something personal and powerful first take shape?
I would say as soon as I moved out to California, I think that's when it became more real. The reason for moving out to California, because I felt I was wasting time living in North Carolina. I think that I learned all I could have learned, and I think sometimes in life we are afraid to pick up and go because we feel like we're running. But no, I just really exhausted all my resources there, and I know what type of life I want to live, so I have to go get it. So thankful enough, I have my brother out here, Chris Staples.
Where's he?
So first off, he's the world's best dunker, former Harlem Globetrotter.
He's one of the world's best dunkers.
I would say he is the world's best dunker.
Really?
Yeah, because when
Did
I think
I
of the
meet him?
world,
Was he-
yeah, you did. He was at the event.
So does he? So he's the famous Snapchatter.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
among other things. Yes.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So he already built a huge platform even when I came out here 3 years ago. So I think it was a little pressuring because it's like, okay, this is his world, like, but also in a positive manner, I could see how it works from behind the scenes. There's no gatekeeping because this is my brother. He's going to tell it to me how it is. Even things I didn't want to hear, but they obviously work. So it put a little bit of pressure on me. But once I've realized to, again, accept help where needed, it put me in the right direction. And I'm able to cut so much more corners. Like me and you met because that was the event. That was his.
Yeah.
So that all just took me saying yes. So again, coming back out here, I wanted to scale my business and kind of just like, how can I incorporate what could be seen as a curse, but is really a gift into my future, because I have to live with this the rest of my life, and it's a blessing, and I want to show people that. So how can I incorporate Pace Fitness, overall health, and just the technology behind it, and religion as well.
It's a beautiful mission, man. It's a beautiful mission. So you're young, you're building from scratch, and you're in LA. What's been the hardest part of staying consistent and keeping your mission clear?
I would say there's a lot of distractions in California.
You're in LA, you're in Woodland Hills, so it's not that distracting.
Yeah, but Woodland Hills is very suburban, and I'm
Yeah.
used to suburban, so I would leave the suburbs. LA is everything that they say it is, positive and negative, but more positives. The opportunity out here is just
Unreal.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I'm gonna make a suggestion. Get out of LA and come to Newport. If you want the ultimate opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Because this is where it's at. This is where all the people from LA are moving.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I see why. So far, the drive here was amazing.
Yeah. Well, wait till you spend your day out here, and you'll kind of be like,
Yeah.
Joe was right.
Yeah.
But I've done a podcast with someone I look up to a lot, named Larry Sands, and he's the founder of a company called Chrome Hearts.
Oh. Like the actual Chrome Hearts? Like the...
Chrome Hearts, yeah.
Wow.
Chrome Hearts. But he founded the glasses portion.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forget the other guy's name. But I always wore. I'm a big collector of the glasses. Anyways, I did a podcast with him. He's 86.
Oh.
And he's in great health.
Yeah.
His wife's 49. He still works every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him. I said, Larry, what's the best place in the world to live? Because he's 86. He's traveled the world. He's been a rock star for 60 years. And he said, there's two places. Number 2 was Monaco.
Monaco, okay.
Little town outside of Monaco, like in the hills. And then number 1, he said, was Lido, which is, Lido in Newport Beach.
Yeah.
Which is a little island where he lives on the water.
It's called Lido?
Lido Village, yeah, which is a great place, by the way.
Okay.
Josh Altman, I saw him last week, big from the show $1 Million Listing. He lives in Lido as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a amazing place. The weather's amazing. I suggest you guys go there. Go have lunch, in Lido Village, and that's where your first stop should be. And then maybe hit CDM after, and you'll kind of see like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely
Since
will do that.
you're traveling, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to tell you from the people I've interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Like who are people I've interviewed so many different billionaires and so many different, founders, and I always ask, like, what's your favorite place to live? What's your favorite place to visit?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just intriguing. Someone that's that age with that much knowledge and wisdom.
Out of all the places in the world.
Out of all the places in the world, he has done 1 million fashion shows, right?
Yeah.
So he picked Lido of all places, which is where I live. So I'm like, I agree though. I always knew that in my heart of hearts. I just getting affirmation.
Did you know that before moving to Lido, or it took you like actually being there? It was like,
I mean,
this is
like
the place.
the weather's amazing. The water's right in front of you. The people all take care of themselves.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of. I just walked downstairs. There's restaurants. There's coffee shops. There's everyone's walking the dog, everyone's in a happy mood, everyone's like out exercising. It's just, the vibe is like everyone's
Yeah.
successful and,
Yeah.
works their tail off. So there's the hustle kind of culture that New York has,
Yeah.
but it's more laid back.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not just laid back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, kind of like the best of both worlds. So you kind of have so a lot of folks from the Palisades have moved here to Newport Beach, obviously, as you know, and from Malibu as well.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. I mean,
Yeah.
they left the Palisades. Like, these are the wealthiest people in LA.
Yeah.
So they all came to Newport. Like,
It's kind of crazy, like, if you weren't affected by the Palisades, how quickly life just goes back to normal for you. Like, the whole city of LA was basically on fire, and then, like, a couple months later, forget about it.
yeah, I like to say that God was sending a very, very serious message to LA.
Hmm.
He was sending a very serious message to LA, and woke some people up, and some people just blamed it on natural causes. I think it was God talking to LA.
Yeah. It takes a certain type of person to look at it that way, too.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
we all know, like, God was speaking to LA.
Yeah.
That was not normal. That was not like
That was not normal at all.
that was not normal. So, what do you think makes your training approach different? Not just the exercises, but the emotional and spiritual foundation behind it.
Taking the time to understand, like, it's all about balance. So I think with a lot of other personal trainers, it's just about the physical aspect. But I always ask my clients, what is your life like? What are things that would stop you from coming here? If they're comfortable talking about it, what's your spirituality like? What's your family life like? Because again, it's beyond just lifting heavy weights. It's about longevity of life and to be able to just simply walk around. I kind of changed my whole workout routine. I don't lift super duper heavy anymore. I as most men, we're happy with lifting 315 pounds, on the bench press. I've done that already, and it's like, okay, well, doing this long term is going to put a lot of stress on those tendons. And you see a lot of bodybuilders now, they can barely walk in their 40s and 50s because their training has never been correct. And I think this is a society where we're all about getting big, but we don't care how quick we get big, and we don't care about the health behind it. Me, keep it simple, keep it natural. Your health, your diet is super important. Your mental is super important. Because if you go in feeling good, you're able to perform a lot better. And also, the gym is a way of therapy for a lot of people, So I think everything that I said all kind of circles into each other. Religion, gym, your family life. If all those things can be on the same playing field, you're able to reach that full potential a lot quicker. So once I was able to answer a lot of those questions and bring it all together, I just felt a shift in my energy for sure. Like, I want to get up in the morning. There's no need for me to be sleeping until 10 a.m., especially at 26 years old. I know what type of life I want. And while I have all this energy, young energy, let me use it to progress myself so I can live a life where I can just lay back. So I think the gym has helped me with that mindset a lot more. Because I think people just kind of keep it as, oh, it's just the gym. That's it. Like, no, this can take you so many places.
Yeah. It's a lot more. So you have a true holistic approach.
Yeah, for sure. So I think just taking the time to talk to my clients, not just 3, 2, 1, all right, see you next week. It's like, no, you're going to get something more than just being tired with me. You're going to feel good mentally. And I think me being relatable, again, having my pacemaker really opens people's eyes. It's like, because sometimes we need to see it before we just open up to people. And for me, you can see it right through the shirt.
How can you scale that though and make it like more of a macro approach? Like,
that's the big question, and I think that's what kind of led me here. And I think it's okay to say you don't know, but
you gotta think
the direction that I'm going, it's kind of happening before my eyes, and I don't think it's a question I really ask myself. God's just kind of showing me the way, and I'm just saying, okay, let me take that step before I don't see the stair.
I love that answer. Now you've said the story. It's always God's timing. How does your faith shape the way you lead, the way you train, the way you show up for people?
Again, when I speak to people, I speak to the God in them. I don't hate people. We can hate what they do, but I don't hate people. So learning to have more patience with people has definitely helped me shake the right hands a lot more and just create an energy around me that people are attracted to. So not only do I have the story, but I can make it more relatable, because whether it's a pacemaker or a death in the family and whatnot, we're all going through something. And I think through my journey, I've been able to express myself a lot more easier. A lot of people struggle with expressing themselves and just talking about what affects them in their daily life. Me, you can ask me anything you want, and I'll tell you, and I think that's refreshing for people to hear, because we wear a lot of masks, especially in today's world, all about the clicks and the likes and the best picture, we post on our page, but we don't really post what we're really going through. So I kind of see through that, and I think I've become a lot more relatable to people.
The Instagram society.
Yeah, the Instagram society. It's a very good thing. It can also be a curse.
Now, what's your advice to someone who's been hit with a setback, physically, mentally, spiritually, and they don't know how to start over?
First, become grounded. Like, look at your surroundings. Be thankful. Because again, you're alive to talk about it. And what's better than life? Nothing. So to be able to talk about whatever that you're going through is a blessing in itself. So I think you have to remind ourselves that we are blessed. Look at the people around you who want to help you. It's okay to receive help. And just tell yourself in the mirror that it is okay. There's nothing too big for you to handle. And I think that if we had a life where we had no issues and nothing happening, it'd be super boring, and you couldn't have the opportunity to grow as a person. I can talk about all the things that I've been through in my life, but also how that's helped me get to where I am now. It wasn't just like, oh, why God, why'd you do this to me? I found the blessing in it, because it's easy to just latch on to how it affects us, but what can this do for me? So throughout that whole journey, I would say patience is something that definitely was a big thing for me. I had no patience before. Now I think before I speak. I don't just act off of emotion, because it's normal to feel a certain way, but let me just blurt out how I just feel. Let me take a second to really understand what's going on and how to progress. And I think that comes with being grounded as well.
Now, a couple last questions. What's a personal goal that you have for yourself, a family goal you have for your family, and then a business goal you have for Pace Fitness?
Okay, so the first one is a personal goal. Just continue to keep doing the best I can and understand that pace yourself. There's no rush. Whatever's supposed to happen for you is supposed to happen, but make sure you're doing the work on the back end. So I'm happy with where I'm going because I mentally feel the best I've felt in a while. And before, I kept trying to rush to get to where I'm supposed to be at 30 years old. But in doing that, I'm forgetting that these years right now are the most important. Like, these are going to shape me to be 30 years old one day. I can't just skip to 30 years old. Like, let me enjoy these years. So just slowing down has definitely helped me a lot and make me feel more comfortable with where I am, because where you are is not all you are. Just the change that I've made in the last 2 years is incredible. I never saw myself even being here right now. 2 or 3 years ago, I was sitting on my butt in a whole different state, but here I am in, close to Newport, the place to be. So, and that was all just talking to God, including him in your everyday mission, because you're not doing it by yourself. Family, continue to push my immediate family like they've pushed me. I understand the importance of family because I couldn't imagine doing that all by myself. Even though I felt that way at some point, that was on me, but they always did their part, and that's why I thank them. So I was like, okay, well, how can I do this for my family one day? Literally, the building blocks is what I just saw. If I do the same thing they did with me, put that onto my family, you can break generational curses, and you want to bring a healthy baby into the world one day, and I think that comes with a lot of your spirit. And from my business, I would say a huge goal of mine is I've always had a goal to work with the brand who put the pacemaker in my body. I would love to be the face of it, because I think I look different than most people you would expect to have a pacemaker. I have neck tattoos. I'm doing muscle ups. I'm 26 years old. I got it at 16. I think that's the most diverse you can get, so that's definitely a huge goal of mine. But also just take this around the world. People are going through something anywhere in the world. I just happen to be here in California, but the word travels. God words travels, and we're in 2025, and there's many ways to get a message out there. So I definitely want to take advantage of that.
One last question for you. When you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's going to tell you?
Welcome home.
Love it.
Home. You did a great job.
Shane, you've been such a pleasure to have on the show. If people want to connect with you, how do they find you?
You can follow me on any platform, Pacemaker Chené. Very simple.
Pacemaker Chené.
Instagram, TikTok,
It's
Snapchat.
C-H-E-N-E though.
C-H-E-N-E.
Pacemaker Chené. C-H-E-N-E. I messed that up because it sounds like Chené. You know?
It's okay. Story of my life.
Pacemaker Chené. Pace Fitness. Thanks for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure. God bless you. I hope you hit all your goals. Continue to dominate, and I look forward to seeing what you can do for helping so many people in the future. God bless, man.
Thank you, Joe.
Pacemaker Chené. Make sure to follow him. God bless.